And a good Friday evening, everybody. Chris McDonald with you as we wrap it up on the final Friday of May.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
And Jenny Castellanovich, as for you, I found it. I found it. Good to see everybody tonight. Going to have a good time with you for a little bit here. Listen, we are grateful to have you. Been a good week. We had a good radio show today. We've had some great guests. Tony Branco, James Akers this week. Mark White, man, what a great job he did Tuesday night. Had a good Monday night show. And we're just grateful for all of you. We're going to have some Jewish friends with us next week. And we'll leave for Long Island, I guess, Thursday sometime. And we'll have the weekend up there. And we'll talk more about that Sunday. That's a faith conference. But for the most part, we'll be on the air all next week. We'll probably have some double features, double headers during the weeknights, and Monday and Tuesday. And then Thursday will be mainly the radio. Don't forget kstartalkradionetwork.com. We're on there every day, 2 to 3. And we are always grateful to have you tune in and join us there. And we hope that you're enjoying those shows. I don't know how many are listening. We don't have Angelina's supposed to try to get me a sort of an idea. They sort of hard to rate the listenership on radio as much as it is the podcast. But hopefully we'll start getting an audience built up. We've been doing it. It's hard to believe it's been going on 3 months now with them, 2 months, 2.5 months, and we really enjoyed that. It's good, the audio version. Changes coming this summer. We're looking at some other times of the day, but we're going to play it by ear, and a lot of things we talk about with you there, we usually talk with you about here again at night. We're grateful to have everybody, and we're going to get right to it tonight. I've got some video I want to play for you, and I do want to just run over a few stories. This story here is very troubling. Not troubling, but this goes to show you how bad the Biden auto pen situation has gotten. And CNN had to cut away today. And Biden did not take too kindly to the interview that CNN was doing. He was talking somewhere and came out shouting and screaming and trying to convince the world that he's mentally competent, and CNN had to cut away from this. You got to watch this. This is nutty. This is the 46th president of the United States. Roll the tape.
You look good. You look good. Well, the prognosis is good. We're working on everything. It's moving along, so I feel good.
Have you decided on your treatment options?
Yeah, we have, and they're underway, and all the folks are very optimistic.
And so you've started treatment?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to share what exactly that entails?
Well, it's all a matter of taking a pill, one particular pill, and for the next 6 weeks and then another one. And the expectation is we're going to be able to beat this. It's not in any organ. It's my bones are strong. I haven't penetrated, so I'm feeling good.
So I feel like everybody expects. Sorry.
I've done it all because I'm loyal. I do it every damn year at the very beginning. I never forget where I came from.
Is he trying to sniff her?
Everybody didn't know what to expect of you today, and then you get here and you're speaking powerfully. You look good. You're confident. What do you say to all those people? Don't count you out.
Well, I say lots of luck on their senior year.
What has this been like for your family? Obviously, this is also an emotional time. This is the 10-year anniversary of your son, Bo's passing. You received this diagnosis just 2 weeks before that.
Well, we're all optimistic about the diagnosis. Matter of fact, one of the leading surgeons in the world was working with me. And he had diagnosed with the same exact thing 32 years ago. He's alive and well and doing very well. So we're optimistic. We're optimistic.
And there's also been a lot of discussion recently about your mental and physical capabilities while you were in office.
You can see that. I'm mentally incompetent, and I can't walk, and I can beat the hell out of both of them.
Do you want to reply to any of those reports, and also to the fact that there are some Democrats who are now
questioning whether you should have run for re-election in the first place?
Why didn't they run against me then? Because I'd have beaten them.
Do you have any regrets?
No, I don't have any regrets. Look, there's a lot going on, and I think we're in a really difficult moment, not only in American history, but in world history. I think we're in one of those inflection points in history, where the decisions we make in the next little bit are going to determine what things look like for the next 20 years. I've been talking about that for a long time, and I'm very proud. I'll put my record as president against any president at all.
I don't think you want to do that, Joe, but that's just my opinion. Roll the tape.
You notice the 10 leading presidential historians rated me pretty good up on that list, and the guy I ran against,
they were all drunk.
to rate him the last. So
And usually that's how it is. The world that rates you last, that means you're probably the best, Joe. So if the sinful, wicked, idiotic world puts you up there, it's not a compliment.
We'll see.
So you had
Watch me.
You have your grandson with you today. What's it mean to have your family here and be able to look out at him while you're talking?
It feels good. Look, that's my son, Bo's son. And Bo started coming here with me about the same age. So it's, he wanted to be where his dad had been and what he's doing. He just graduated from high school. He's going off to college in the fall. And I'm really proud of him. And he is the son of his father. So.
Do you have anything to say to the press secretary?
Okay, we heard for the first time there from former President Biden, first of all, about his treatment, saying that he takes a pill and that he is being treated by a surgeon who also had prostate cancer and is, he said, still around, and fought back against the questions and reporting about the issues relating to his ability to be president, his cognitive ability, to his mental ability, to his physical ability.
And that was CNN. They cut away from that. That's the part you really didn't see it as clear. But that was Caitlin Collins asking him about, there's a lot of discussion recently about your mental and physical capabilities while you were in office, and referring to Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book. And he says, you can see that I'm mentally incompetent. And I can't walk, and I can beat the hell out of both of them. Way to go, Joe. And CNN got away from that. I tell you what's happening tonight, folks. This is how they're doing it. All right. Alex Thompson is out there now tonight. Jake Tapper and him have done their covered your blank side tour, but now they're turning it to Trump again. Alex Thompson was out there today questioning why Trump has not released his medical records, and that they feel like that Trump needs to come clean about his medical condition and his medical and mental capacity. It's amazing how that was never called for in 4 years for Joe Biden. Not once. In fact, when the media, some in the conservative media, was screaming for a cognitive test, we were called a lot of names, and none of them were good. And Joe Biden got a 1,000,000% pass on everything he did, everything he said. The media covered for him. Hollywood covered for him. The Democrat Party covered for him. Senators covered for him. Representatives covered for him. Jill Biden covered for her husband. And, I understand that a little bit, but she was putting this man in a place that, it's just amazing. I cannot explain this part. Like today, he sounded somewhat lucid, and he definitely sounded more lucid today than he did probably in the last year of his presidency. And I've said this over and over, and I'll go back and try to find the clips, but we had said in the past that it seems to me that there were times that he did sound lucid. When I tell you what, when he was trashing the Republicans,
it's the program that was launched by the Biden administration to fly illegal aliens into the country by aircraft.
Where is that coming from?
So when you hear
there, hang on just a second. Sorry about that. That's coming off. We're going to get to that clip by Stephen Miller in a minute. But when he was trashing Republicans, pushing abortion, pushing transgender, pushing men in sport, women's sports, pushing open borders, pushing all the left-wing crap, Joe Biden was as lucid as they came. It's just when he was pressed on issues about corruption in Ukraine, Burisma, his son Hunter, his cocaine habits, and things that really mattered to, as well as what was going on with his crooked crime family, Joe Biden acted like a dementia patient. And then when it came to Trump, all he could do was call Trump a dictator, Hitler. And he was doing that today a little bit. I mean, he was trashing Trump, some of those comments. And folks, we call evil good, we call good evil. There's a woe attached to that. And I want to just say this to the audience tonight. Most of you understand this, but I know we got a few lovelies out there that don't. And this is for you lovelies that don't. When the world applauds you and puts you and ranks you way up there as the best president in the world, I can pretty much guarantee you've probably been the worst. And when they rank you last, and they say the last and the least liked and the least effective, you're probably doing exactly what you need to do. You're probably doing exactly what the world needs. Harry Truman wasn't popular. Ronald Reagan wasn't popular. Abraham Lincoln wasn't popular. The presidency is not a popularity contest. This is not some audition for some TikTok interview and some TikTok clip. This is not some, the presidency is not some Instagram post. It's not a Facebook live feed. It's not a Twitter post. It's the presidency of the United States, where adults need to be making decisions, not nursing home patients. And again, I can separate my personal concerns for Joe Biden, the man. I hope what he said there is true. I hope that the cancer that he has in his body is dealt with. But what I'm more concerned about is the man's soul. I can separate all that. I can be praying for him, and I do every day. And I can also separate that from the fact that this man should have never seen the inside of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And they knew about this stuff. They knew about the cancer 4 years ago. It's been in his body. And again, there's a part of me tonight even that we don't even know if what he was saying in that interview tonight was even the truth. We just don't. And again, the Dems have done this to themselves. They project on Trump what they've been doing to this country for almost 50 years now. And that is a Saul Alinsky playbook, rules for radicals, 101, situation, sit down, top 10 Saul Alinsky rules to take down a country. By the way, who is Saul Alinsky? Well, Hillary Clinton praised him as her mentor, and he dedicated his book to the first rebel, Satan. Barack Obama praised Saul Alinsky. And it suffices to say Joe Biden probably was right there reading it with Barry. And when they start projecting stuff on Trump and projecting stuff on the right, they're telling you what they're doing. So while I hope that the cancer prognostication that he's got is good, I don't want to see anybody die. This other issue is separate to me, and I can lay the hammer down and not blink an eye about doing it. Joe Biden destroyed this country. I put it like this. It's not all of Joe's doings. He basically sealed the deal from what Barry did for 8 years. What Clinton would have done had she got back in, God forbid, Hillary Clinton would have been. God forbid Kamala Harris would have got in. And Joe is not dealing with reality if he thinks that he was mentally incompetent or mentally competent to run the presidency. And I'm not any fan of Jake Tapper. I think Jake Tapper's nothing but a pathetic coward. Victor Davis Hanson, the great historian and lecturer across the country, is one of the probably most brightest conservative minds that this country has, other than Thomas Sewell and a few others. And he said it beautifully the other night. He said that Jake Tapper could have wrote this book 2 years ago, and there would have been a big difference in the direction of the country. They may have 25th Amendment Biden if he would have been brave enough to come forward then, but he wasn't. Because he knows good and well that he would have probably been doing his newscast from the janitor's hall at the White House for the rest of his born days. And probably CNN may have even been kicked out of the White House. And that's the other thing. We're being told that Trump's a dictator and Trump's authoritarian and Trump is squelching the press and he's circumventing the freedom of the press by telling him who can be in the White House and who can't. Folks, there is no constitutional requirement for President Trump to hold a press conference. It's the White House. Freedom of the press means that you get to print and write what you want to write without government interference. Trump's not trying to interfere with what they're writing. He just wants them to say what's truthful. And he's got a right, if they're going to report on the White House, to address it. And, I've not seen Trump bring one reporter yet in front of them with a gun to their head and threaten their life and tell them to say something they shouldn't say. You got a right to say what you got to say. But we, the American people, have got a right to take your piece of trash newspaper and put it in the toilet and use it for number 2 paper. Trump does too. And there's nothing that says he has to have a press conference. There's nothing that says he has to allow reporters into the White House. There's nothing that says he has to allow anybody in that White House. But he actually, they said today, you realize out of 180 days, he's been giving the press a conference. 130 of the 180 days he's been in office, he has held a press conference. Joe Biden did not even hold 10 his whole 4 years. And whenever a news agency went against the Biden White House, they were punished, just like they were punished during the Obama years, and just like they were punished during the Clinton years. And it's like, you know, they claim Trump is punishing the press. Trump's not punishing the press. Trump's giving the press as much access to him as they can get. Even left-wing Politico said that today. But I don't know who this press and this media think they are. Jake Tapper's no hero. Jake Tapper has done nothing to warrant any kind of respect. And that's just a few Friday night thoughts. Just a few Friday night thoughts. And as McDonald says, I'll amen myself on that one. It's good to see everybody. Now, we're going to take some questions from you. We're trying to get a good audience in here. It looks like you YouTubers better get your act together. Rumble and X has got a bigger audience tonight than we got over here in YouTube tonight. But I want to play a couple of videos for you and show you something. This is Bill Maher, folks. Bill Maher is no conservative. He is no conservative. And I want the antisemitics among us tonight to listen to a history lesson from the ultra-liberal Bill Maher. Roll tape.
Israel is the Jews' homeland, and Jews have always lived there. You can look it up. It's in this book called the Bible. It says the Jews built a temple with a really big wall 7 centuries before Muhammad or Islam ever existed, and sure as shit, you can still go there and touch it. Calling Jews colonizers in Israel is like calling Native Americans colonizers here. It's ridiculous.
Very well said. Bill uses a little language there, so we ask you to pardon that. I think most of you can handle a few vernaculars there. By the way, this is a lady that was given a commencement speech at a college. One of her sons were killed in the October 7th attacks. I think this sums up the heartache of October the 7th. Maybe some folks need to listen to this.
You said your agony is my agony. Your pain is my pain. Your son is my mother's son. And so your son is my brother. You said, I will not leave you, even after your son died. I bind myself to you. Your fate is my fate. We people, we are not what we say. We are not what we think. And we are not even what we believe. In this life, we are what we do. So go do, you shining lights of wonder. Go be our North Stars. Go be our beacons. Go be our hope. There is a whole world out there awaiting your arrival. So go, you beautiful people. Go and do.
That's a lady whose son was killed during the October 7th terrorist attacks. Very positive message from someone that lost her son. Marie Le Pen, a hero of the right in Europe, had this to say about the Israeli conflict tonight. Viva Le Pen!
Mais bon, d'abord, je trouve l'idée de sanctionner Israël profondément injuste, car je rappelle que Israël a été attaqué avec une attaque terroriste d'une ampleur absolument inouïe, et que son droit à se défendre devrait être, en l'occurrence, garanti. Mais En plus, on sait très bien que les sanctions contre les États, ça ne fonctionne pas. On le sait maintenant depuis des décennies. Donc, continuer à agiter cette menace de sanctions m'apparaît être une posture plus qu'une volonté d'efficacité, à se faire entendre. Moi, je crois beaucoup à la diplomatie. Israël est un État ami de la France et par conséquent, si Israël a besoin, encore une fois, d'aide pour pouvoir livrer cette aide alimentaire, il faut lui apporter cette aide, mais cette menace de sanctions ne changera rien, je le crois.
Let me stop that. I thought that was in English. I thought I had an English version of that, and I was trying to find the original video. I'll give you the translation. She's telling this woke reporter. The woke reporter was trying to ask her why Israel was not allowing humanitarian aid into Gaza. Okay? And Le Pen is saying, because of Hamas. She asked her, well, who's the perpetrator of this whole Gaza blow up? Le Pen pretty much mirrored what Marco Rubio told reporters here recently, that everything that happens in the Gaza Strip is on the hands of Hamas, not Israel. Israel is simply defending herself. And Le Pen, that's why she is not well liked in France. And they're trying to put her in jail so she won't run against Slappy. I'll just let you figure who that Slappy is. That's his new nickname. Emmanuel the Slap. Emmanuel the Slap. Here is another, let's see here. Where have I got another video about Hamas? This is the video I want to play again tonight. This is Marco Rubio. We've played this about 2 times. It's worth the third play tonight on Friday night.
Will you call for ceasefire? No, I will not. On the contrary. Are you filming it? I want you guys to get this. I want them to destroy every element of Hamas they can get their hands on. These people are vicious animals who did horrifying crimes. And I hope you guys post that.
And what about the civilians that are being killed every day?
Hamas should stop hiding behind civilians, putting civilians in the way. Hamas knew that this was going to lead to this. Hamas has stopped building their military installations underneath hospitals.
So you don't care that 15,000 have died? You don't care about the babies that are being killed every day?
I think it's terrible, and I think Hamas is 100% to blame. That's what I think. Make sure you post that, please.
Make sure you post that. Make sure you post that. Hamas is 100% to blame, and he is absolutely right. Speaking of Hamas, did you realize that at Columbia University, folks, there are 35,978 students? Out of that number, 321,000 are international students, and American students at an American Ivy League university are the minority, and they have turned into Jihad Central. They have turned into Jihad Central, as is Harvard. I got to let you listen to this. If you'll give me 1 second, I want to download this video. We played this today on the radio. This is the commencement speaker at Harvard this weekend, or this week, I should say, just yesterday. I want you to listen to what this chick is calling for and what she told the students that are graduating. And you're going to see the Harvard people in the background. And she's going to basically tell them that, hey, kill them all. Kill them all. Let's see here. Let me get this up here if I can find it. If I can get, well, come on. I just downloaded you. I know you're there. Let's see here. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to get this done right there. There it is. I knew it would happen on a refresh button. This is what your tax dollars are paying for to turn Harvard and Columbia and Penn and Yale and other schools, Northwestern, into Jihad Central.
There are no safe zones left in Gaza after 600 days and 77 years of genocide. I center these students.
677 years of genocide. She's speaking of Palestine. Folks, that's a long time. If there was such a genocide going on for 677 years, there wouldn't be anybody left. But this is what Harvard allowed to get up and give the commencement speech yesterday. Roll the tape.
With urgent desperation because time is running out. No meaningful aid has entered Gaza since March 2nd, and this is on our account.
Let me stop it right there. That's a complete lie. Complete lie. No, there's been tons of aid brought to Gaza. There's been tons of water. There's been tons of food. Israel is the only country in the world, folks, that feeds her enemies like she does. Israel really has no moral obligation to do anything in Gaza. Gaza's owned by the Arabs. That Gaza Strip was annexed. There's not been Jewish control over Gaza since 2004, thanks to the late Ariel Sharon and the dumb blank George W. Bush Jr., thanks to their brilliant minds. So this idea that there's not been water in there and food in there since March is a complete lie. No, Bibi Netanyahu's been trying to get food in. The American element to this, what the American element did is that in the bringing in of this new food, there were people there watching what happened to the food, and it's been discovered that Hamas was putting this food into warehouses, and we were telling people they were doing it. Bibi was telling people they were doing it. Israel was telling the world they were doing it. The world didn't believe Israel. The world didn't believe Bibi. The world didn't believe the conservatives. They thought we were just pushing Israel, and Israel was controlling our government, and Israel was controlling the media like the great evil Israel is to everybody. And that's a complete lie. Complete lie. Nobody stopped her. Nobody challenged that because she's talking to graduating class is Harvard. You Harvard moms and dads, y'all must be really just dang proud that you paid for this.
For Palestine today, not just because of its scale of atrocity, but because of our complicity in it.
Now, she's blaming Israel. When she says our complicity in it, she's blaming you, America. She's blaming America, who she's over here with on a visa, an invitation. She ain't paying for this education, by the way. No, we've invited her to come over and be one of our international students. And now she's trashing us. Roll tape. And now they're applauding. There's the Harvard lovelies behind her. Sum up.
Class of 2025, Palestine is waiting for us to arrive. And you must be courageous enough to rise to the call, because Palestine will keep showing up in our living rooms until we are ready to meet its gaze. Here, I must acknowledge that together in the wilderness, we have witnessed the risks that have come with speaking up for this very genocide to be far-reaching. Yet no matter how charged with punishments the scroll, again and again we witness too the enormous hearts, unwavering courage, and profound wisdom of students like Romesa Osterk, Mahmoud Khalil, Mohsen Mehdawi, and countless others who are in this very audience with us today, such as Elam Tatik Tamalko.
Now, what she's saying there, those students that she just mentioned assaulted Jewish students, and they're applauding them. So she's trashing Israel, lying about Israel, claiming that there's been a genocide in Palestine for 676 years, claiming that no water and food has been put into Gaza since March, and then she trashes America that she's been invited to run her trap. And now the people, Camille is one of the ones that got deported by Trump after he was found to be carrying FU signs and basically causing riots and all sorts of lovely things on these college campuses. So now she's praising him and other students that were charged with assaulting and threatening and harassing Jewish students. Boy, this girl's hitting a home run, didn't she? If you consider it's a jihad scale.
Friends and classmate who continues to show up not just for Palestine, but for each of us by extending to us the water we need in our most vulnerable moments. Together, we must refuse to be ruled by the tyrants of our time, because our liberations are intertwined.
She's calling for jihad right there. Our liberations, you know what liberation is? We break free of the tyrant's control. Who's she calling the tyrants there? She's calling Israel the tyrant. She's calling America the tyrant. Folks, you know, Angelina Orsini was listening to her program today, and when I was playing this video, she texted me during the show, and she said, that is a call to jihad. That is a call to jihad. This is at your lovely Harvard University. Yeah, that Harvard, this federal judge claims that Trump don't have the right to keep from hauling in and bringing in people just like this to trash our nation and call for the destruction of Israel.
We gather now to take our second census. The three of us stand before you not because it was easy to do this together, trust me. But because it was absolutely vital in a world that has given us chasms so wide, no bridge seems to want to meet us along the path. We chose to do this anyway and carve our own path by not lying to each other on the journey.
And that was that. There was more to that, I'm sure, but that was all that the clip had. Jihad Central, neighbor. Jihad Central, moms and dads. That's where you're paying your money. That's where you're paying your money for public education in this country. You know what I expect, folks? I'll just say this. I'll say this. I think what's about to happen, this is about to sink into the high schools. I think that it's in the colleges right now. It's in the levels of higher learning. I would not be shocked within the next year or two, if the Lord tarries, that this stuff starts sinking lower. I think that you're going to see this on high school campuses. You may even see it on middle school campuses. And you say it's impossible. Oh, don't think it's impossible. I never thought that would be possible at an American university to allow somebody like that to be your speaker from a student, give the student address, and literally stand up there and call for jihadism against America and Israel at the same time, and the faculty be okay with that. But they were. This is a little clip I want to play, and you're not going to hear a lot, but I got to put this in context. This is the MIT president yesterday at commitments exercises. They had just quelched an anti-Jewish protest right prior to the graduation. You're not going to hear any apologies that she makes for the extremists. And she almost gives a tip of the hat to the anti-Semitism without coming out and saying, we support the anti-Semitism. Listen closely. MIT.
Okay, listen, folks. At MIT, we value freedom of expression, but today's about the graduates, so it's time for me to charge you all. So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Governor Healy, who I'm so happy to have here. But today's about the graduate. Okay, folks. There is a time and a place to express yourselves, and you will have many, many years to do it. Let's talk today.
What you're not hearing, it's 18 more seconds on this. What you're not hearing, you can hear the clamor in the background. Anti-Israel protesters, anti-American protesters at the graduation of an American university, MIT.
About our graduates. Okay, so I have to give a shout out to the members. Got a lot of.
And that was that. That was that. And no apologies. No apologies. That's the part you need to take away from there. Other video tonight, real quick. I'm going to take your questions. We don't have a lot of chit chat out there, but you're going to get a chance to chit chat if you'll start putting some questions in there. We'll take them. Here's Kevin O'Leary today on Elon Musk's exit from government. I'm going to miss Elon. He's done a great job. I got a few thoughts about this. Roll the tape.
As Elon Musk sails off into the sunset, of what you think his best achievements were. You first, Kevin.
Bringing the whole idea of a different kind of audit into the psyche of bipartisan taxpayers, Doge is a good idea. It just is. Auditing the government under any administration is a good idea. And trying to make it more efficient is a good idea. Now, one thing everybody learns, and I'm including myself in this statement, is you don't understand Washington till you go there. It is a very nasty, nasty place.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And anybody that exposes themselves that close to the sun is going to burn some feathers. And I think he experienced that and realized he did some great things. But there's other great things that he's doing, including, I'm a shareholder in Tesla. I'd like to see him a little focused on that. He's getting back to that as well. But I don't think what he did was bad at all. He didn't get near $1 trillion of savings. And Elizabeth Warren, parting card, is why Washington is nasty. You're going to get exposed to that. You need thick skin. And I think he understands that now. I think he did a great job.
He did a great job. Here's President Trump today saying goodbye to Elon. He's going to be indirectly helping the government still, but his official role of DOGE head is now ended. He said that it would be about 90 days, and that's about where we're at today. And Trump had some glowing words to say for him, as he should have. Roll the tape.
I mentioned that you had to deal with all the slings and arrows.
Let me stop him right here. The New York Times was taking shots at him today, even in this final day that he's in office. They were accusing him of drug use. And you got to listen to this clip. Roll the tape.
I mentioned that you had to deal with all the slings and arrows during your time at Doge. There's this.
Well, some of the people, some of the media organizations in this room are the slingers.
Well, so there is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line between.
Is the New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? Is it the same organization?
I got to check my Pulitzer counter.
It is. I think the judge just ruled against the New York Times for their lies about the Russiagate hoax, and that they might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize. That New York Times. Let's move on.
Let's move on. And Ducey should have moved on. By the way, speaking of judges and media, CNN's going to fork over another $5 million to the Afghanistan vet that they lied about. And judge ruled today on that. They're going to keep doing this. They're going to be bankrupt if they don't stop doing this crap. Here is Stephen Miller today. As we get back to the Harvard situation, actually, here's the CNN verdict.
I'll reach the verdict.
We have.
All right. You have the verdict form with you?
I do.
Can you hand that to the bailiff, please?
I will.
Clerk to publish the verdict.
In the Circuit Court of the 14th Judicial Circuit in Fort Bay County, Florida, case number 22608CA, Zachary Young, plaintiff versus Cable News Network, Inc., defendant. Verdict form number 1. Do you find by the greater weight of the evidence that defendant CNN committed defamation per se against plaintiff Zachary Young? Yes. Number 2, do you find by the greater weight of the evidence that defendant CNN committed defamation by implication against plaintiff Zachary Young? Yes. Number 3, what is the total?
And basically, they're going about to get the number of damages now.
Total amount of plaintiff Zachary Young's damages for both lost earnings in the past and for the loss of his earning capacity in the future, reduced by the amount that plaintiff could have earned from comparable employment. $4 million. Number 4, what is the total amount of plaintiff Zachary Young's damages for pain and suffering, mental anguish, inconvenience, injury to reputation, and loss of capacity for the enjoyment of life that he sustained in the past and that he has sustained for the future? $1 million.
$5 million total.
Number 5.
$5 million total. I'll save you the other stuff. $5 million, baby. $5 million. Bye-bye, CNN. You're going to keep doing this crap, folks. They're going to keep doing these fake news stories and libel and slandering people. There's some folks probably need to hear this. Slander's a suable offense. You better be careful. as a media outlet, and you better be careful about putting stuff out there in that public that's not true. You better be very careful. And slandering and defamation. It wasn't just slander, it's defamation of character. You see, you can be saying something and twist it, and it defines somebody's character. That's suable. And you can be sued for that and lose a lot of money. CNN's $5 million less rich tonight. They're going to learn their lesson eventually one day, perhaps. This is Stephen Miller on the Harvard judge that tells the world that jihadist that you saw there a while ago talking at Harvard, that Harvard has a right to bring as many of those people in, because Trump basically put an executive order out that said he's cutting off funding for any international students. There's no money. Well, they sued Trump, and this rogue judge stopped the injunction. That's what Stephen Miller had to say about it. He should be the press secretary. I love Carolyn Levitt, but they need to find a role for Stephen Miller. He is the smartest man in America right now. Roll the tape.
America's secrets or America's industrial might?
Do you think that given what Judge Burroughs did on the Harvard side about, putting a stay on the revocation of these foreign student visas at Harvard, that you are going to have strong standing in federal court on this particular issue, focusing on the Chinese students?
I'm sure you can always find the judge that is insane and lunatic enough in the Democrat Party, a sufficiently communist judge, to rule on anything, which is the whole problem, Laura. When you have 700 judges, 10, 15, 20, 25 communist judges can try to run the entire country, grind the gears of government to a halt, try to undermine and overthrow the previous election result. It's been rightly called the judicial coup. And we are expecting, this issue is now before the Supreme Court, that they will swat down these district courts that have done such violence, such damage to our nation's democracy. And in fact, completely sabotaged our nation's democracy to a degree that we've never seen before. The president's authority to prevent foreign nationals from entering the country is one of his greatest and highest authorities. He is operating at the apex of executive power when he does so. Congress, likewise, has codified and cemented that authority by giving the Department of Homeland Security and the Secretary of State plenary authority to reject the entry of foreign nationals into this country, which is what makes that Harvard ruling from this crazy judge so obscene. Harvard defied multiple DHS subpoenas for information about its foreign students and about law-breaking and national security threats on campus. Harvard has engaged in decades of invidious, unlawful, and illegal race-based discrimination against American citizens. So Harvard is engaged in illegal and criminal conduct, and a judge is siding with Harvard's right to pad his pockets with foreign cash over the rights of American citizens and the American Constitution. The Democrat Party's philosophy right now is for foreigners everything, for Americans nothing. President Trump is fighting for American workers, for the blue-collar workers, and for the middle class of this country.
Yes,
all right, Stephen, great to see you as always. Thank you so much.
Yes, they are, and that sort of sums up the lawsuit. Trump basically cut off funding for all these. He's suspended any visas to foreign students. Harvard sued to get it back, and this judge sided with the school. So Trump's trying to keep these people out. The courts are not allowing him. By the way, that girl that said there's no humanitarian aid, here is an army official with the Israeli Armed Services giving you the skivvy and the truth about it. Roll the tape.
I'm here at the Kerem Shalom Humanitarian Crossing to personally show you what is happening with the humanitarian aid entering Gaza, and to disprove any misinformation circulating online. Behind me, hundreds of trucks worth of aid waiting to be picked up at the Gazan side of the crossing. Close to 900 trucks of aid have already entered Gaza, and today over 80 more will enter. In addition, the new distribution centers are operated by the GHF. 16,000 packages have been distributed within the past few days. Each package is enough for an entire family for a week. The aid is being let through, but UN organizations prefer to cooperate with Hamas rather than with us. In the last few days, multiple aid distribution centers operated by the international aid organizations have been established in close cooperation with the United States and COGAT. 2 centers are working today, and the third will be ready in the coming days. This is a long-term program. As part of these efforts, the IDF continue to allow and facilitate the transfer of humanitarian aid through here, the Kerem Shalom crossing. As you can see behind me, almost 1,000 trucks were recently transferred to Gaza via the Kerem Shalom crossing.
1,000 trucks, folks. 1,000 trucks. Does that sound like Israel starving the Gazans to death? Anybody want to chime in on that? Does that sound like the Israeli government is killing children with starvation and killing women with starvation? 1,000 trucks. Now, the media is going to claim this guy's lying and Hamas is telling the truth. I'm going to ask you another question. Who do you believe? Who do you believe?
Following a thorough security inspection, it is now on the UN and the international organizations to ensure its proper distribution. We must not forget who is the aggressor and who is responsible for this situation. Hamas has been stealing aid meant for civilians and starving the population for too long. Despite Hamas' continued and cruel abuse of the people of Gaza and their attempts at intimidation, Gazan civilians continue to arrive and receive assistance. The IDF will continue to facilitate humanitarian aid into Gaza to provide for the humanitarian needs of the civilian population, while taking necessary steps to ensure that the aid does not reach the hands of Hamas and gets to those in need. Hamas starves the people of Gaza. Hamas loots the aid meant for Gazan civilians. Hamas continues to hold 58 of our hostages captive. This is what we are fighting for, the return of our hostages and to dismantle Hamas.
That's what they're fighting for. Liz Goldman, you asked a question last night. There's the number 58. I knew it was between 50 and 100. This current ceasefire deal, by the way, Stephen, I saw you out there tonight. Good to see you. You asked about would Israel accept the deal. Israel has accepted it. Hamas now has rejected it. Hamas rejected it. Bibi said yes to a 9 hostage release out of 58. The 58, I'm assuming, is those are the ones that are alive. I'm assuming. 9 of those hostages would come home in exchange, I'm sure, for a few hundred terrorists going the other way. Hamas said no today. Israel said yes. We'll call it off for 60 days, get our hostages back, and Hamas could end all this carnage right now to release those 58 hostages. But I will tell you this, Israel is justified, folks, in everything she's doing, and it is blood libel to say that she is starving the people of Gaza, and Christians that post that and share that should be ashamed of themselves. They are worse than the terrorists. This is Jesse Waters. We got a lot more video, but I wanted to just play some of the most important ones tonight. I've got a lot of stuff coming up next week that's going to be intriguing stuff. This is Jake Tapper. This is Jake the Coward. Macron the Slappy and Jake the Coward. I guess I got new nicknames coming up for these folks. Roll the tape.
I look at the way I covered, the president, some of the trials of the president, I thought were, I think it is problematic when people run for prosecutor and promise to go after a specific politician. And both Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, and Alvin Bragg, the District Attorney of New York, both of them did that. And that, to me, is problematic because you're not saying this is the offense and we need to bring justice to this perpetrator. You're saying, I'm going to go after him. And I think that there was a degree to which that was tolerated by the media writ large. I mean, I did note it at the time, but and when Trump does the same thing, and he's the president, so it's also a different degree, people perceive it as more problematic.
Yeah, people perceive it as problematic, Jake. They perceive you as problematic. I want to show you something, folks. This is sort of off topic, but I'm going to save that to last. This is the former Fox host, Greta Van Susteren, tonight. I know some of you may have heard about this illegal, supposedly, sent a letter to President Trump and said that he would put a bullet in Trump's head and then self-deport after Trump is gone. And now they're claiming that this letter was a fraud or a fake, that he didn't write this, and he's the victim. He's the victim, not the perpetrator. Viva Greta, roll the tape.
Illegal migrant has been arrested for threatening to assassinate President Donald J. Trump. According to the Department of Homeland Security, last week on May 21st, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement received a handwritten letter from illegal migrant Ramon Morales Reyes. Here's that letter. It reads, quote, "We are tired of this president messing with us Mexicans. We have done more for this country than you white people. You have been deporting my family, and I think it is time Donald J. Trump gets what he has coming to him. I will self-deport myself back to Mexico, but not before I use my 30-yard six to shoot your precious president in his head. I will see him at one of his big rallies." End quote. The next day on May 22nd, ICE officials arrested 54-year-old Ramon Morales Reyes. He will remain in ICE custody at Dodge County Jail in Juneau, Wisconsin, pending his removal proceedings. Morales Reyes, who is from Mexico, illegally entered the United States at least 9 times between 1998 and 2005. His criminal record includes arrests for felony hit and run, criminal damage to property, and disorderly conduct with a domestic abuse modifier.
But CNN today, I'm not joking, and I should have had the extra video. We'll play that one Monday night. CNN today said this guy right here is the victim. He's a victim. And he is wrongfully accused of trying to shoot the president with a 30-yard rifle. That was a hoax letter, that he's no way this man could have wrote that. And then he's got felony hit and run. Did you hear what she said? He's entered the country legally 9 times. But he's not, in CNN's world, well, he hadn't shot the president, so he's not done anything to be detained by ICE. That's the media for you.
This afternoon, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem released this statement that reads in part, quote, "This threat comes not even a year after President Trump was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania, and less than 2 weeks after former FBI Director James Comey called for the president's assassination. All politicians and members of the media should take notice of these repeated attempts." End quote.
Yep, and they should. Here's CNN reporter basically admitting to insurrection. Roll the tape.
I don't care about the other stuff in the event. Okay? I don't care about them. Let's just stay very focused on impeachment.
My name is Kerry Porch. I'm a satellite uplink technician. I'm a contractor at the CNN Washington, D.C. Bureau.
But Jeff Zucker, basically president of CNN, has a personal vendetta against Trump. It's not going to be positive for Trump. He hates him. He's going to be negative.
I decided to wear a hidden camera. I decided to secretly record the 9 a.m. rundown call meetings, and it's basically run by Jeff Zucker, the president of CNN.
We're moving towards impeachment. I mean, we shouldn't pretend, this is going one way, and so all these moves are moves towards impeachment.
When I came to work at CNN, it was my dream job, and that dream actually just turned into a nightmare.
So I like that on the Instagram front. I know that there's a lot of people at CNN that are friendly with Instagram. Time to knock that off.
I know a lot of people at CNN that's friendly with Instagram. You South Carolinians, please put a Republican in there that is not friendly with CNN. Roll the tape.
It's time to call them out. And I think what's going on in America now is really fundamentally the result of years of fake news, conspiracy, nonsense from Fox News.
He was calling Fox News fake news and a propaganda machine, and with what I saw, I'm like, that's pretty much what CNN was. It's just pumping out propaganda.
The fake conspiracy nonsense that Fox has spread for years is now deeply embedded in American society, and frankly, that is non-destructive to America, and I do not think we should be scared to say so.
I just want them to own where they're at. Like, hey, if we lean left, cool, let's just say we lean left. If we lean right, let it be known. But again, it just dovetails back to that thing. I just want people to have the information to make up their own mind.
I think we've got enough information. CNN's Crap Network. By the way, this is a bombshell. Harvey Levin of TMZ tonight's reporting this, and we pulled this off of I think it was Gateway Pundit. You talking about a shocker in the Diddy trial. My goodness. I want you to listen to this little clip. This is going to be news next week. There have been explosive testimony in the Diddy trial just the last couple of days. But I'll let Levin explain it all, because we've all seen this clip of Diddy kicking the you-know-what out of the lady on the floor, his girlfriend, pregnant girlfriend, back in 2016. But it seems that CNN had their little hands in this a little bit. I want you to listen to the chance that the Diddy case may go up in flames thanks to the Crap News Network.
We just broke a huge story on the website. Unbelievable story. Remember the Cassie video? This is Diddy beating Cassie in the hallway of the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles back in 2016. Everybody assumed this video was going to be a really important part of the federal case, even though he's not being charged for this. The prosecution wanted to play this video to the jury in the federal case. I do not think that's going to happen because CNN, according to the defense, altered this video before it aired it and has now destroyed the original. Like I said, unbelievable. If true that original copy of that video has been destroyed, I can't even get into why it would have been destroyed. But the bottom line to the case, as you say, is if that's true, it's going to be a huge hurdle in the prosecution getting this admitted. It's not going to get admitted. But let's get into what happened. Now, there is a joint letter that was filed today in federal court by both the prosecution and the defense regarding evidence. Now, this portion of the letter involving the Cassie video, it was the narrative is from the defense. Right. So let's get into what the defense is saying. So here's what they say about the tape. They say CNN purchased the only known copy of the hotel surveillance footage, uploaded that footage into a free editing software, altered the video, and then destroyed the original footage, even though it knew about and repeatedly reported about the federal investigation. Okay, that is breathtaking for a couple of reasons. Number one, I mean, obviously, they paid for it and then destroyed it. But between paying for it and destroying it, according to the defense at least, it was altered. They did not air the full version. They said they sped it up, they took things out of sequence. Right. And that's, if true, it is shocking. The speeding up and the editing of it is not shocking. The out of sequence. And that it can be shocking depending on what they are alleging they're trying to tell there. But again, I cannot fathom a reason that they would destroy the original. I get that you upload it and you're going to edit, and I agree with you that it seems to me the better thing to do would just air the entire thing. Air the raw. Yeah, but even if you do edit it, why destroy the original?
Well, isn't that peachy? Well. Questions to be answered next week. Here's Tim Burchett tonight. We got a couple of stories about illegal aliens. This one's very disturbing out of Nashville tonight. Here is Trump's official about the wonderful, illustrious mayor of Nashville doxing the ICE agents last night. Basically putting their phone numbers out for all the criminals and crooks and the cartels and the mob to see who they are so they can take care of business.
It looks like Mayor O'Connell was involved in some sort of obstruction or the harboring of criminal illegal aliens in the great city of Nashville. But also just last night, his office put out the names of Homeland Security investigators and doxed our ICE enforcement officers. They claimed it was a mistake. There's zero chance it was a mistake, and there will be repercussions. Our ICE enforcement officers are already facing a 400% increase in assaults.
400% increase in assaults, folks. 400% increase.
against them. And he's essentially handing over intelligence to these criminal gangs so that they can target our ICE enforcement officers. It's wrong, and it's beneath the city of Nashville, and I hope he will face consequences.
He won't, but he should. By the way, in the file of stupid on Friday night, here is Chris Goldman complaining that the ICE agents are wearing masks. Now, I just played you the video. The taxes are up 400%, so they're wearing these masks to hide their identity. Leave it to a Democratic congressman to say that this is wrong.
Today, I had the opportunity to both observe immigration court and observe and observe plainclothes officers wearing masks, arresting and detaining immigrants who were here to appear in front of a judge as part of their court case. This is Gestapo-like behavior.
Gestapo-like behavior. Wow.
Plainclothes officers wearing masks are terrorizing immigrants who are doing the right thing.
Now, that one sentence right there has so many lies in it that I'm surprised they don't go up in smoke. All right, they're not immigrants. They're illegals. They're not doing the right thing. They're here illegally. The reason that the ICE agents are having to wear masks, Goldman, is that your freaking party, including the Democrat mayor of Nashville, is doxing their numbers and telling the people that want to kill them where their homes are at.
By going to court, following up on their immigration proceedings.
Is that not what we're paying them to do?
And trying to come into this country lawfully.
They're not coming into this country lawfully. That is such a lie of the left. That is such a lie of the left. There is such a lie of the left. Why the Democrat Party wants to get these illegals here, I've got some reasons for that, but it's unreal, the love affair that they've got with these illegals.
Which is through asylum.
And that's what they want. He just gave up the ghost right there. He gave up the goods. I'm going to save this video for next week. It's 3 minutes, and I've got to finish this up tonight. I want to take your questions. That's your Democrat Party. That's your Democrat Party. That is your Democrat Party.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Elementary, my dear Watson. All righty. I'm done. Questions, comments, real quick. And make it quick tonight. It's Friday night. And I had more, but that's enough. Most of that was what we talked about on the show today. And we'll start again next week, fresh. And we got some great guests coming. And we're trying to get Ruth Gudenheim. Gideon Ariel is going to be with us. We're hoping to get Ruth Landy back. I'd like to get their take on all this Israeli stuff and the Iranian situation. And hopefully get Brad Johnson in next week. Eric Caron's going to be back from out of the country. Hope we can get him one night. I'm going to be on Kevin Gallagher's show next Tuesday, I think. And Kevin's going to be with us in a few weeks. We've got Marcia Montenegro coming back in a few weeks. And some other folks. And we're excited. Ricky Wilson will be back with us in June. So we're going to have a great June ahead. We'll be in Long Island, New York next weekend for a conference. And so it's going to be a busy time for us. All righty. You got the floor. You got the floor. Boy, you YouTubers, I ain't never seen YouTube this quiet since I wore the duck outfit and speechless. So I'm going to go over to Facebook. If you got a question, Jan says, I want to throw up. I want to throw up too. And Corey says, unbelievable. Yasina, your question about she going back and making sure her peeps have food, then instead she's here causing trouble. Take several of your Harvard grads with you. Well, that's sort of what she sort of hinted at doing, Yasina, that we're gonna go to Gaza and liberate the we're gonna liberate the Gazan people. I don't know if the chick has seen recent video from the Gaza. Let me just, I'm not making fun of this, folks. This is serious stuff. But this is what Hamas has done. This is all Hamas right there. That is what Israel has done in the sense of self-defending, cleaning out hospitals and That's the war zone of Gaza. It's Hamas. It's on Hamas. But that's what they're going to go liberate. So I'm sort of with you. If that's what you want to get on a plane and go liberate, chick, knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. And all I got to say to that is this.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Anyway. Tim, thank you. I thought it was a pretty good show too tonight. Mark says people with common sense know we are just trying to protect our people. Don't get the Dems. Well, Mark, I don't think the Dems get the Dems. I've got a video I got to download for next week. They're doing a Make America Great Again campaign, the Dems are. I'm not joking. They're just using blue hats. The blue hats are going to say Make America Great Again instead of the red hats. And if you see a blue hat, that's the Dems' efforts to make America great again. I think we've had enough of the Dems making America a hellhole again. I think that we've pretty much had enough of the Dem brand for a while. I hope we have. I'm not sure about that with some, but yeah. I think most people, Mark, your comment about common sense is true. Most people with common sense do get it. Most people with reasonably thinking people do get it. They do get it. Any other questions? Any quick. Jenny, you says, I want to see diplomas getting revoked. I think that's what Trump, the visas he's got to start with keeping these kids off these campuses. Don't hold your breath. If the administration had character and the administration did what was right, that's exactly what they would do. But the administration's agging this stuff on. Columbia's agging it on. Harvard's agging it on. Yale's agging it on. And then they play the victim. They play the victim. And they play the fact. They play ignorance. We don't see any anti-Semitism on our conference. And we're doing everything we can to stop this. And we're doing everything we can to protect Jewish students. And we're doing everything we can to make sure that the radicals don't get a hold of our lawns and burn flags and say F the Jews and put Hitler-like Holocaust slogans on T-shirts. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. That girl would have never been allowed to speak had they been doing the right thing. But to allow that chick up there, even that 10-minute, 5-minute, 4-minute clip, man, was enough to make you gag. They're not going to revoke their diplomas. I'm with you, but anyway. And so forth. Jan, I'll agree with the Lord intervening, but Jan, I'm going to tell you this. God is not going to intervene unless, God's not going to override the free will of these colleges. Look, all rebellion like this, there has to be an attitude that they want to stop the rebellion. They don't. I mean, I'm with you. God does need to intervene, but how's he going to intervene? I hear people say that, and this is not a shot at you. This is not you. I understand where you're coming from. But I do hear sometimes that God's going to fix this for us. No, God's not going to fix this for us. We have got to show God that we want it fixed. And that's what's missing right now. There is no indication right now that this country, for the most part, I know that a majority of Americans support Trump. I think right now, it's evident that the country is still very divided. The country's always going to be divided. And we're getting back maybe to being more center-right a little bit. We're not quite there yet. I think that the country at large is center-left. It definitely went further left than most of us was comfortable with during the Biden years. Trump's trying to bring it back to the center, maybe center-right. But there's still a lot of debauchery and a lot of sinful wickedness over this nation that cannot be put into words. And we have got to want to change that as a nation. God does not intervene in nations until nations humble themselves before him. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. If my people, see, it goes back down to the people of God. And the reason I'm saying this, Jan, is about the people of God. that video that I played with the Israeli soldier telling people that Israel is giving humanitarian aid to the Gazans, do you realize that there are Christians out there that are posting videos that is calling Israel liars, and they're basically saying that Israel is starving children to death, and Israel is committing genocide in Gaza, and Israel is bulldozing towns, and Israel is doing all this? You've got Christians that are posting things just opposite of that because they don't believe that Israeli soldier. They believe Hamas. They believe Hamas, who's telling the world that Israel's starving us to death over here. The Gazans are catching on. Even the Gazans are saying, hey, Israel's helping us. Trump's helping us. But Hamas is keeping the food from us. But you got Christians that are posting blood libel. You see, God does want to intervene, but he can't when his people are aligning themselves with evil. He can't and he won't. When God's people have the same blindness on their hearts that the heathen do out there tonight, and I don't mean that in any disrespect. So, as much as we want God to intervene, and I really believe as much as God wants to intervene, we've got to humble ourselves, pray, and turn from our wickedness. And that's a threefold thing. And I don't see any humility. I don't see any praying. A few pockets of the country are praying. There are some elements. There's a remnant that's praying. And there's a remnant that is speaking clarity to this issue, speaking truth to this issue. But it's very few. It's very few. And that's part of the reason. You know, Leonard Ravenhill, the late revivalist, wrote a great book, and I've got it in my library. And from time to time, I take a peek at it to remind me of another era that preachers preach the truth and preach with fire in their hearts and in their souls. And his book was entitled While Revival Tarries. And another book he wrote was Sodom Had No Bible. And it's the scariest book you'll ever read. And he lays out the case that if Sodom would have the things that we do today, if Sodom would have had the gospel, and at least the opportunity to hear the gospel like America does today, it would have repented long ago. And all he did was take the same words of Jesus when Jesus told Capernaum basically the same thing. He said, if the mighty works that I've done here in Capernaum would have been done in Sodom and Gomorrah, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. In other words, as wicked and evil as Sodom and Gomorrah was, they would have repented. But because Capernaum didn't think that they were needing to humble themselves or needing to pray or needing to turn from their wicked ways, Jesus says your judgment's going to be worse than theirs. I'll leave that some food for thought. I'll leave that for some food for thought. All righty, boy, you YouTubers, I have been shocked tonight. I thought this YouTube channel, y'all are asleep over there tonight. Anyway, and Gail, you say, well, if he can change Saul to Paul, he can change these brainwashed liberal Dems. Gail, I'm going to say something, and I don't mean this to take offense with what you're saying, but I'm going to tell you this. It's not just the liberal Dems. See, that's the problem right there. We think it's the liberal Dems that need to change. Gail, let me tell you something. I'm going to love you. We all need to change. It ain't just the liberal Dems that God needs to change from Saul to Paul. And that's the problem. Because we see it through the lens that the problem with our country is the liberal Dems, and it's not. The liberal Dems don't know God. They don't know God. Saul was a very religious man. Saul was the Pharisee of the Pharisees. Saul was a member of the highfalutin synagogue of Israel. He wasn't a rank heathen. Saul was a Hebrew scholar. He was educated, and he was out there killing Christians. He was the most religious man you could have ever known. But yet he hated the Lord, and he didn't know Christ. The greatest danger to this country is apostate religion. The greatest danger to America is not the liberal Dems. The greatest danger to America is apostate religion. And see, we need to take a look at our own heart and life. Because God don't just need to change liberal Dems. He needs to change all of us. He needs to change all of us. And I'll leave that as, again, for food for thought. Jeannie, you says, and we have to be willing to demonstrate with our actions that we want to change this evil. That's true. Corey says, what do you think about Trump's new nickname, Taco, what the liberals are using, and the audacity who asked Trump about this? Taco, what Corey's referring to is the chicken comment. I think we played that last night. Do I have that clip? He laid bare, that reporter, basically told her that was a nasty, nasty thing to say, and not to ask that question again. I'm sure she will. They will do it again, but I think it was insulting, and they just don't understand who they're dealing with Trump. They just don't understand who they're dealing with Trump. Let's see here. No, I don't have it. I'll find that video. I'll play that next week. We played it. It's on our Twitter handle. But what do I think about it? Typical media. Trump's not a taco. Trump's eating tacos right now. He's eating China's taco. He's eating Canada's taco. He's eating the European Union's taco. I tell you what, these countries are about to find out quickly that he's not a chicken. And this ain't a game to him. If they're not going to play ball with us, he is not going to let them take advantage of us anymore. And the media can cackle and hackle and lie, and Congress can lie and say what they want to say. But these people are going to either come to the table and make a fair... By the way, we didn't even talk about the economy. Economy, best figures we've had that came out last month, first time in 4 months. We have had a decrease in inflation and also a decrease in the trade deficit of our country. Why is that decrease in the trade deficit? Tariffs. Because countries are not charging us 1,000,000% for our goods to go into their land, and then we charge them nothing to come into ours, and then we go in the hole. So there's a decrease in trade. They're working. That don't sound like a chicken to me. Takes courage. That's why Elon Musk needs to be thanked. And I got to say this before I close tonight. These Christians that have been out there calling him the Antichrist and Trump the Antichrist and Elon the 666 and the beast and everything else and Elon this and Elon that, well, they're going to have another punching bag now. He's gone now. They've had Elon as their punching bag. Christians have. Trump's going to be their punching bag. But there's going to come a day when Trump's going to be gone after he's done with his term, and he's not going to be their punching bag. And then they're going to probably be shocked when I don't even know what some of these Christians would do if the country got right and got on track. They wouldn't have nothing to write. They wouldn't have nothing to say. They wouldn't have no relevance what to say and to show their ignorance, their spiritual ignorance. They wouldn't have anything to say. I don't agree with everything Elon Musk says. I don't agree with everything President Trump says. I don't judge President Trump for his past. I don't judge Elon Musk for his past or his present. Elon Musk is not my pastor. I don't look to Elon Musk for spiritual advice. I don't look to Trump for spiritual advice. I look above. I put it like this. I'm a minister of the gospel. So I'm the one that gives out what you might say spiritual advice every Sunday, because I preach the word and I teach every morning and I preach on Sundays, and we sing and we write and we try to get as much of the gospel out. So I'm on the other end of this a little bit, but I can tell you right now, I don't look to these men for spiritual matters. But as far as the country goes and what they're doing for the country, we're going to owe Elon Musk a debt as a nation that he found all this waste, fraud, and abuse. It would have never been found without his people at Doge. They would have kept doing this stuff, and we would have been bankrupt, and we would not have been solvent. We were headed for that. They stopped this trend. And I will tell you this, these gravy train people that have been milking the system and doing what they're doing, their gravy train is over. I got one quick meme to show you tonight. This is actually just tonight. This is why the Doge is important. This lady printed the checks, signed them herself, faked the records, stealing over $657,000 from the U.S. government. Former Department of State employee Levita Farah has pleaded guilty to theft of government property, will be sentenced September the 18th. That was discovered by a Doge audit. She would have kept getting away with that. But the Doge people shined a light on some irregularities in the State Department, and boom, more of that's coming. More of that's coming. It's nearly $1 million, folks. It's nearly $1 million. That's nothing to sneeze at. So I'll leave it at that. He's not a taco. He's not a taco. All right, did you get something out of this tonight? Hope you enjoyed the show. Jeannie, just for you, one more time.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
I hope you do tonight. Much love. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Can I mention, my dear Watson?
Have a great weekend. I'll see you back here Sunday morning. Until then, McDonald out on a Friday night. Take care out there. Be blessed. And I will see you again Sunday. Maybe see you tomorrow night if we're getting back at McDonald North in time. If not, I'll see you Sunday morning, Sunday night. And then we'll be back at it Monday. Have a good night, everybody. Pray for your country.